So, welcome back. I have done a lot of ore processing. My big stack of iron has diminished. I've got another layer of wrought iron, and I've learned something. So, right here, adding items to the bloomery consumes 2 charcoal and 100 millibuckets of cast iron to produce 1 bloom. After filling the bloomery with a combination of charcoal and ore, light the bloomery block, wait 15 minutes for it to smelt. When it shuts off, it leaves behind a bloom block, which you mine to get the blooms. So this is incorrect because Gregtech is here. Gregtech doesn't do 100 millibuckets into a ingot. It does 144 like most other mods. The thing that I have found out by watching someone else's like tips video is we go back a page, it takes 48 inputs at maximum size, which mine is. If you look down here, I've got 24 because it goes 1 to 1. So either TerraFirmaGreg has it set up so that you need less charcoal overall, or the book is very old and is lying. Not intentionally, just because of how old it is. Which means I have wasted a lot of charcoal from every time that I've processed it. I've processed everything. And that means I've also kind of wasted a lot of my own time because I've done batches of 16, and those batches of 16 could have been batches of 24, so then I could have done what I did as 3 batches could have just been 2. But the larger issue, made the steel brick casing, doesn't use steel, it uses wrought iron, because I need this for the high pressure steam liquid boiler. The problem is it uses 7 steel plates and a glass block. And here it claims use brass plated blocks. Except that wasn't working before. So either it wants every single side covered, or it just doesn't work. And I wasn't able to actually like, confirm it just because of how long I was working on stuff and I was getting tired. Uh, some people have used like the Cowlin blocks work for some reason. So the actual like Cowlin clay blocks work, except the only thing I have here is leftover powder, which can be turned back into the clay if you have a furnace or a fan with lava. I have neither. So I can't make that to turn it into the Cowlin block in order to uh, use that to cast. But the brass, if I want to make a brass block to use for it, I either need a high pressure thing, which means I need the boiler to make the brass block, or I need an extruder, which uses energy and a bunch of other stuff, such as the circuits, which requires deployers, and the deployer requires brass hands, so I just switch brass, and an electron tube, which requires resistors, and I believe it was the sticky resin here. Either I have to go through stuff with the pot or the vat, or machines that use power. Just to get the sticky resin, but I believe also charcoal dust is what I'd be using. I need mortar, and then the wire is just a little obnoxious. Making resistors and resin circuit board. We need plank. We need the compressor. So we need steam already. So we can't use this to get around it. Yeah, there's no trying to get around it with other parts here. Here, I would need either redstone, like I either need redstone dust, or a polarizer, which uses energy. And yeah, it doesn't use as much, like it doesn't use any like mechanical components. It still requires energy, which means I would still need an LV turbine and an LV boiler. So can't use that, can't use that. Fluid solidifier, it's going to use power. So same problem there. Motor, like motor requires magnetic parts, doesn't work. Compacting seems reasonable. Like basin is just wrought iron plates, and it's just heat up charcoal under it. The problem is this. I need a block of wrought iron. Block of wrought iron has the same problem, and it only has an extra option because you can melt down 3 machines to get it. Because here I need the magnetic stuff, so there's no going like making a arc furnace and somehow trying to cheat stuff there. It's I would need to figure out all that, or go all the way back. And I really don't want to do that again. Part of the whole idea of the interlude with the other mod pack was because I didn't want to boat across this ocean again. Then looking at a bunch of other stuff, like what I would need going forward. The ore prospector, which would let me see the ores in the area. So steel plates, I literally have 3 in my inventory, that's not the issue. Glass pane. So either have the machine. So first off, I believe it uses power. I believe that's why it has 2 things here for like the charge level. But it's getting glass dust from, hey look, crushing a block of glass. Or a bunch of different options of just crushing glass in different ways. I think there was one that was like not awfully. It's like right here, turning a small pile of flint dust and quartzite dust into glass dust, or quartz sand from crushing sand. Yeah, except that's using The name is messed up. I don't have the language file, but it's a Gregtech mixer that also uses create stuff to help make it easier to do. Or the actual easy one is just get mechanical saw and put a glass block on it, and you have a 65% chance of getting the glass pane from it. So a little under 2/3. So that's going to require the saw. It's also going to require having a power source. And the only other like reasonable thing currently would just be making hand crank and powering it manually. But that's going to eat hunger. That's just the glass pane. Remember, we also would need deployer. And we've already gone over that. The LV sensor. Hey, look, the deployer again. More steel plates, brass rod, and quartzite, which I haven't seen quartzite ore anywhere. Let's see. Yeah, just like tossing that into a sifter, but I don't have that. You need motor, you need a ton of steel. Item filters, which is zinc foil and steel plates, and then cables, and look at that, the deployer. In order to be able to get the quartzite, just to get LV sensor, and you also need that for the emitter, just to be able to see the stuff in your area. But we haven't even gotten to the actual like issue that I hit. I processed a lot of material. I'm supposed to have 7 steel plates right now. I finished welding all the plates. Like I was using blowpipe in my offhand to ignore, so I didn't need to like waste durability on tongs because I've realized I can just do this. And then I tossed them into the water to cool. Then I was looking back over here. I looked at the brass, stepped back, and then I was looking at this. Actually, no, I was looking. I think that torch right there, that one, was not lit, and it was also daytime. And I was right here. So these torches were out. And I think this one over here was also out. And the sun had gone above, so I had no real visual indicators that time was passing. And I had stopped to go watch tips video, like find out more about what I need to do, and then finding out about the kaolinite. And I was going through there, and then I went to like other spots and I was looking at it, and then went back to be like what's going on with this? This is weird. 5 minutes go by. So the 4 steel plates that I had cooling there were sitting there for 5 minutes. And then they despawned. But on the bright side, I figured out I can use creosote in the lamp. It's not been great. And I've also looked forwards. That's me. Oh, hang on. This thing I completely forgot about. Uh, I found the dogs. Uh, so I think when I was down there in the Iron Vein, this area was loaded enough, and then I think it was like a small collapse, and I took damage, and then they teleported to me. They have been in the cave for an in-game year. I went down, got this one out of there, could see where the other one was on the map, but couldn't find my way to it. Then I was almost out of the cave after being down there for over an hour of just trying to find my way around. And I am almost out of the cave. And then I just get a message in chat, male dog fell from a high place. And to keep this one from wandering back into the ravine, because literally I got it here, told it to sit, was like, it's standing again. I told it to sit. I walked away and came back, and it was in the ravine again. It's... There are so many little bits of minutia to deal with here. And realistically, we're still on TerraFirmaGreg. Like, we haven't even hit create. Like, this is the only, like, real Gregtech thing. Like, yeah, my tools are Gregtech. But this is the only real bit of Gregtech I have. And, like, if I'd realized I could have used creosote when I wouldn't have so many torches, I'd have lanterns around, and I'd be using this more. But the other issue... Hang on. Boiler. So... There are the low-pressure boilers. This requires a lot of bronze. Also requires glass block. Requires silver plates. Requires silver double plates. And it's a lot of bronze to put in to one machine, and I'm not going to get anywhere near as much back out of it. Like I will get 5 out of it, despite having to put in 7, so 12 plates, so that's 24 bronze ingots. And you will get 5 back. There's so much. Or it's like I want to be able to just use all the creosote to fuel stuff here, but I can't. So one last sunrise. I think this will be the end for TerraFirmaGreg. Have a good one.